All right, out here today with Bailey on the Commencal Tempo. It's kind of a shorter travel trail bike, 125 in the back. It's got a 140 fork, almost that cross-country level, but definitely a little bit burlier setup. Aluminum frame, really low standover, which is pretty cool. Should make it fun for playing around and doing some tricks. Let's see how it goes.
Please subscribe and check out Jensen USA for all your bike needs. Reach out in the comments if you have any questions and let me know what bikes you'd like to see for a review.
Today we have the Commencal Tempo. This guy's set up for some pretty rough riding with that Super Deluxe Ultimate on the back. It does have a 34 up front, but it is the Grip 2 damper, so the burlier of the 34 options. Real stubby stem on there. Some nice EX 511 DT Swiss wheels, so should be pretty strong setup there. Just a GX kind of mixed up drivetrain. And the Guide Ultimate brakes, or G2 Ultimate brakes. Sorry, SRAM. See how those bad boys stop. All right, so starting with the climb. Here's the two switchbacks that I go to. See how that goes. Super easy around the first one. This is the hard one though. It's the one that really tells. Oh yeah, not a problem. Nice. There we go. One more angle. There we go. Another beautiful day up here. Got these G2 brakes. Don't want to say I'm worried about them, but it's been a while since I rode some G2s. Another switchback here. Nice. All right, so after a good little climb, what do I think? Well, it's interesting. The seat tube angle doesn't feel quite as slack as I almost expect from a more cross-country bike. I'm not stretched out very much, but the short wheelbase whips around switchbacks great, and the traction is definitely there. I am noticing a little bit of wallow on square edges as I climb over, but it's nothing crazy bad. It may just be that I'm not stretched forward enough, so I got a lot of weight over that rear wheel. Overall though, it's a good climber. Probably give it a A for switchbacks, a B for efficiency because of that wallow, but then an A for, well, maybe a B plus for body position, because it's a comfy position, but it's very enduro-like instead of that cross-country sharp positioning I was more expecting. All right, so now we're gonna get into the fun stuff. See how this bike compares to all the other burly 120, 130 bikes that are out there these days. Yeah. Whew.
So what about the geometry? The numbers look good, but maybe a little conservative. You have a 65.5 degree head tube and a 470 reach. The seat tube angle is 76.6, so not as steep as it felt, but also not as steep as a lot of other bikes. Go figure. One thing that surprised me was the 633 stack, and I definitely felt that. The long 440 chainstay also did a lot to make for a short travel bike that felt stable. Overall, nothing to complain about here.
Okay.
Descending. This new crop of short travel bikes doesn't make it easy to choose. So how does it stack up? Well, especially with the piggyback shock, this bike has a much more planted feel than, say, the Trek Top Fuel. It's much easier to get into the travel, and the bike tracks the ground rather than bouncing along. It's still rather lively, but doesn't quite have the get up and go of bikes like the Evil following. Similar to my 5010, if you want to ride some of the gnarlier stuff, a Fox 36 or RockShox Lyric would help. It doesn't need more travel, just more stiffness up front. The high stack height goes a long way on the steepest terrain, and the Tempo's new virtual pivot suspension keeps the rear end active even under heavy braking. Lastly, that ultra-low standover makes for a bike that you can really move around on. I wouldn't hesitate to recommend this bike for my area, if you're set on only 125 millimeters of travel or less. So who's this bike for? First off, if you're convinced you need dual 29-inch wheels and are on the shorter side, then yes, this bike is for you. It certainly leans more downhill than some shorter travel bikes I've tried, but still feels more lively than most 140 trail or larger enduro bikes. If you don't want to spend the money on carbon or just prefer aluminum, then this is a great 125mm option. Ripping corners and technical terrain are the Tempo's favorite. So if they're your favorite as well, then I'm sure the Tempo and you will get along.
Yeah. I love pumping through. You just feel more accomplished when you pump through instead of pedal. Yeah.
Final thoughts. I see this bike as a very good competitor, but also distinct from the Trek Top Fuel. Both are offered in alloy, which many of the bikes I've reviewed are not. Where they differ is that the Tempo has a much more in-the-bike feel, a taller front end, and the longer wheelbase, making for more stability at speed and when things get steep. When you stand on the pedals, it may not have quite the get up and go of the Trek, but if you're looking for an alloy short travel 2.9er that leans more towards technical terrain and stability, then the Commencal Tempo is the bike for you. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't, please subscribe. Check out the links in the description and on my homepage if you need anything. Jensen USA has all the coolest new gear for yourself and your ride.
Ooh.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Oh, not bad.
Yeah.
That was fun though. Little, yeah. Once it gets hard, maybe it'll be more fun. Yeah.
Pretty cool. Like cool little pockets of manual and kind of like nose pick into and like yeah.
We were doing some fun stuff.
Yeah, it was cool.
All right, so second lap down on the tempo. Just got a bug in my mouth. Going to do a good job of throwing this little bike down some big stuff.